back and see how you handle things like this. Okay. So, as you know, I've been just working crazy hours, and I got the showcase this weekend. So I'm working Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the showcase. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be 4 days of craziness up there. And I could have worked the whole day, but I'm only doing like 2 or 3 games a day because that's a long time at the rink. Anyway, so I've been just putting in all these crazy hours, and at some point you're like, what am I doing this for? And you're like, I need to go and do something fun. So I was browsing around on Appa, and I said, you know something, I'm going to get a new hockey season. I says, I'm going to treat myself to a hockey season here. I've been dying to play some Appa hockey, and I said, you know something, let me see if I can go and find a season that I don't have. Give me something new, and every now and then you got to freshen it up. And sometimes a new season, you buy a new season and get you back into a game, right? And and like the replay gamer says, not only do I play, but I'm a collector. So I do like to collect some seasons here in the whole bit. So I went on to the Apple website and it says, what season do I want to get that I don't have? Okay. And so I want to talk about how I choose my replay seasons. And I'd like to know how you choose your replay seasons too. Now, obviously, the probably the biggest way we choose a replay season is if our team won the championship. If your team won the championship that year, that's probably a shoe in, right? That you're gonna go and grab that season and replay that because it's a lot of good memories for you. Okay. Or maybe they just had a good season. Maybe they didn't win it. Maybe they overachieved, and that's another one too. Or maybe one of your favorite players had a great season, and that's another reason why you would choose a season. But what happens if you have your favorite seasons? Okay, I have my favorite hockey seasons. You guys probably know what they are by now. But every now and then, I like to go and choose a different season to play. And I like to research these seasons, and I talk a little bit about that today in the mystique and going back and learning about seasons. So let me show you what I do when I'm choosing a season. Okay. And let me see if I can share my screen here. So hopefully you can see this right here. So right now I am on hockey reference, hockey-reference.com. Okay. I subscribe to this here so I can get the ad free. And I'm on here so much I kind of feel like I should subscribe to them. So what I do is I come here and I flick around on the seasons and I say, okay, which ones don't I have and what's a good one to get in the whole bit. So I was like, I don't have 8081. I have it in Hockey Bones, but I don't have it in Appa. So I clicked on 8081. And here's kind of what I like to do. The first thing I like to do is I like to look at the standings. That's what I like to do. And what jumps out at me? Well, first thing I notice is right over here, the Winnipeg Jets. 9 wins. 9. That's terrible. Okay, they were a bad team. 80 games and they won 9 of them. Barely 10% of the games, okay? And when I look back at the Washington Capitals from 74-75, they won 8. They were the worst team. They won 8. So this jumps out at me right away. And I love my bad teams. I always go to the bottom of the standings, and I'm looking at this. I'm going, wow, the Winnipeg Jets won 9 games. So I need to look at that team. So I kind of put a little mental note on that. Okay, and again, I'm in the 80-81 NHL summary here. Is where I am. Okay. Then what I like to do is what teams don't exist anymore. I love my defunct teams. So I come over here and say, I got the Calgary Flames. I have the Colorado Rockies. They don't exist anymore. So that's a couple teams. I come over on this side. I got the Minnesota North Stars. I got the Quebec Nordiques. And I got the Hartford Whalers. So for me, being a fan of teams that don't exist anymore in the history of the league, this is a good season for me right here. Okay. And this was in my wheelhouse of, 74 to or 75 to 95, which was that was my big 20-year hockey run, was 75 to 95. And so this is right in the sweet spot of that. I was still in junior high or something like that at this point here. So I was in my hockey mode at this point. So that's the first thing I check. I check the standings. I look for anything that sticks out. So I got the Islanders here at 110. So they were the best team. Okay. And then the Jets were the worst team. So that sticks out. Then I look for my defunct teams, and I got a couple of them here. So for me, I'm quite happy that I have probably 5 or 6 defunct teams that I can play. So that's the first thing I look for. Then what I do is I scroll down to the playoffs. What happened in the playoffs? Would I want to play the finals? I might. Minnesota overachieved this year. Now, somehow, and I don't remember this, they swept the Bruins in 3 games. I don't remember this, and we talk about this, going back and learning in the whole bit. I don't remember them sweeping the Bruins. It just, sorry, I don't remember that. Let me slide over here on the side a little bit. That way I'm out of the way. And I'll blow this up just a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, so I don't remember them beating the Bruins. And they swept them too. And I think I played this in Hockey Bones, and the Bruins took them easily. And I think I played this in another game, and the Bruins won easily. But I'll come over here and say, oh, geez, maybe I'll replay this, and I'll click on the matchup, and I'll see who played, and I'll come down here and take a look at the players that played. Let's see the goalies that played in the series. So Milosh and Beaupre split for Minnesota, and Bashan and Barron split for Boston. And so it just gives me an idea who played in the series. So that's one thing I might do. Okay, so I'm going to make a mental note. Maybe I'll play the Bruins and the North Stars series. Then I look at the finals. I might play this too. Stanley Cup Finals. We got the North Stars and the Islanders. The North Stars did manage 1 win at home before they finally succumbed in 5 games. And then I'll go down here and take a look who played in the series as well. And you can see that Billy Smith played the whole thing at age 30 and won it all. So that's another thing I'll do is take a look at the playoffs. So again, I start with the standings, then I go to the playoffs. Let me, that's a little too much of a zoom. How about that? And so I'll start there. Then what I like to do, especially with hockey, is look at the goalies. So I'm going to click on my goalies, and this is what I did today, and I thought I would share it with you because I enjoyed researching. So I go to my goalies and I click on games played. And lo and behold, Tony Esposito, at 37 years old, played more games than any other goalie. He played 66 games that year. And I'm like, you know something? Mental note, Tony Esposito, my favorite goalie, was 37. He played the most games this year. So already, the 1980-81 season is checking a lot of boxes for me, okay? Now, I don't know what I would do for a Tony Esposito replay here, but I know I'm going to get some Blackhawks games in because he played 66 out of the 80 games. So I like to come over here and look at the goalies. Mike Palmateer, another one of my favorite goalies, another goalie that was in Randy Drusen's book, right? We had Randy Drusen on, and Mike Palmateer's in the book. He's with Washington. I forgot Palmateer went to Washington. There's another mental note. Okay, let me check that out. Then Gilles Gilbert was with Detroit at 31 years old. I don't remember Gilbert with Detroit, but he played 48 games for the Red Wings in 80-81. So I'm kind of getting excited now about this. The more I look into this, the more excited I'm actually getting at this replay. Let me scroll down. Anybody else here? Glenn Rush. I think he was traded from the Islanders to the Colorado Rockies. Talk about getting screwed. He gets traded from the championship team to the Colorado Rockies. That sucks. And he played 40 games that year. Gilles Meloche, PJ's going to kill me. Another one of my favorite goalies here, and he played 38 games in Minnesota. So let me scroll down here. Anybody else jumping out at me for a goaltender? Jimmy Craig. He played with Boston. He played 23 games with Boston, 9-7-6. So we might have to play some Jim Craig games. So I like to come over here and take a look at my goalies and see if anything jumps out at me. So let's sort by age. So it looks like Tony Esposito was the oldest. Wayne Stevenson, who went to Washington, played 20 games, was 36. And Rogie Vachon, who was still playing, he was only 35 with Boston. So that's one other thing I do. Is so I like to check the goalies and see what happens with that. Then maybe I come up here to the top and I say, okay, who are my best goalies here? And who's my rookie? And, Peter Stastny, right? I'm pretty sure Peter Stastny in 81 was with Quebec. Yeah. So Quebec's going to be on my list to play because I got Peter Stastny. So let me click on Quebec and see who's we got here. And I like to get down here to the points. So Peter Stastny, at 24 years old, he led the team with 109 points. Holy cow. That's pretty impressive. Jacques Richard, I don't remember him, but he came over from the Buffalo Sabres and lit it up. And then you got Anton Stastny, and I don't know if they had the third brother. It was Peter Anton and oh man, there was a third Stastny, and I'm drawing a blank. Robbie Fatorik played on this team. Michel Goulet before I think before he went to the Blackhawks. Yep, he was with Quebec. Then he went to Chicago. Yep. John Winsink. I didn't realize John Winsink played with Boston, and then he went to Quebec. So he played 4 years in Boston. Then he went to Quebec, and then he went to Colorado. I remember him in Colorado, but I don't remember Winsink in Quebec. But Johnny Winsink, 27 years old, played 53 games, 124 penalty minutes. So Quebec's another team on my list that I want to play. Now, you know I'm going to play Colorado just because I love the Colorado Rockies. And Lanny McDonald. He played all 80 games with the Colorado Rockies. And Ron DeLorme, somehow I have his number 27 jersey. I just kind of picked it up. Walt McKechnie, my buddy Walt, 33 years old, still skating, and he's playing with the Rockies. So I got some pretty fun. Marion, thank you. Dan shows up. Marion Stastny, that's right. I couldn't think of the last one. So I'm really excited about this season and why I didn't get this earlier, because I'm excited about what I'm seeing here as far as teams I want to play, players I want to play. And I even looked at Wayne Gretzky and the Oilers. Wayne Gretzky, if I go to my leaders, which is another page I like to go to, points, 164 points for Gretzky. This was an off year for him. But let me view everybody. So Gretzky, Marcel Dion. Gretzky was 20 years old. Oh my gosh, 20 years old. I hate you. I do. Marcel Dion was 29. Nielsen, I remember. Mikey Bossy, Dave Taylor, Peter Stastny again as a rookie. Charlie Simmer was still with the Kings at this point. Rick Middleton, my second favorite Bruin, was 27 playing here. Wolf Paymon had moved to Toronto at this point. Darryl Sittler was still there. Now, who's the oldest guy in the league? Terry Harper was 41 playing with the Rockies. And Dave Keon played all 80 games with Hartford. Wow. I'm impressed. And then John Rattel, I don't know if he played much more beyond this, but he was 40 years old at this point. And then Phil Esposito, 38, playing for the Rangers. So we got some cool things happening here. Carol Vatney was still playing in 1980, and he was with the Rangers at this point. Wayne Cashman, he was kind of wrapping up his career at this point at 35. How long did Cashman play? He played 2 more seasons. He played till he was 37. Okay. So we got some goal scorers to look at here. And let me see what else I want to look at. So let me go back to my standings. And so when I look at this season, knowing what I'm looking for, there's a whole slew of things I can do in this season as far as playing some games. And I don't necessarily need to and let me quit sharing this here. And it'll come back. So I don't necessarily need to do any particular project here, but there's a whole slew of boxes I've checked in 1980, 81 for me. And so that's kind of how I go about choosing a season, especially with hockey. And with baseball, it's kind of the same way. I go to the standings. I like to look at the league leaders, who sticks out. What team are they on? Is it somebody that might be on a bizarre team that I was, oh, that's kind of neat. Maybe I'll play them. What are the good teams? What are the bad teams? I definitely want to play the Jets. And if I go back here, I won't share the screen here, but if I click on the Winnipeg Jets, okay, and I take a look what's going on with them. If I go to their schedule and I sort this out here, there's 3 games they gave up 10 goals. The Oilers, the Flyers, and the Canucks, they gave up 10 goals. How do you give up 10 goals to the Vancouver Canucks at home? I don't know what they did. So those are 3 games that I definitely am really considering playing, the blowout games. When I looked at the schedule here, they did tie the Bruins 7-7 at home. Imagine that. That's how bad the Bruins were. They couldn't beat the Jets. It was a 7-7 tie. Oh man. And then let me go back. I will share this one more time because there's one thing I did want to want to show you here. Now, I don't know if he's on the team or not, but if I go to my Jets stats and I look at this guy here, all righty, Ron Lustel. Ron Lustel played one game and he gave up 10 goals. So Ron Lustel, one of those games, he played and he gave up 10 goals. So I know Hockey Bones would have him. I'm not sure if Apple would give me the 5 goalies. I'm pretty sure Apple's going to give me the 4 goalies here, you know. But yeah, it's you know I'm going to want to play him. I really do. And Dan also says over here, would like to play that season to see if the Blues could do better in the playoffs. He's a Blues fan. And of course, I'm wearing a Red Wings jersey. But yeah, well, that's another reason to go to play a season is to go back and take a look and say, okay, you know what's going on here? Did like I say, my Bruins lost to the North Stars, but every time I've played them, the Bruins have crushed the North Stars. So that was just kind of a fluke, if you will. Now I'm gonna just for kicks, I'm gonna go here and take a look at the rosters. And if I go to Winnipeg, right? The goalies, no, they don't have him. They have Matson, Hamill, Dion, and Middlebrook. So they do not have Ron Lustel, who played the one game, but Hockey Bones does. So that's gonna be one that I'm gonna be playing for sure. Is I'm gonna have to pull out that in Hockey Bones, and that will be kind of fun checking that out and see how that guy does. And I'll try to figure out who he played too. So if I click on his name here, I don't know if it tells me what game he played in. No, it was just a 10 goal game that he played in, and I can't really see what game it was. So I'll probably have to go back to their schedule and click on one of the 10 goal games and see who it was. It wasn't the 10-4 loss to the Oilers. Was it the Flyers? No, it wasn't the Flyers. So it must have been the Vancouver Canucks. So on March 27th, late in the season, they threw this poor guy in there, and he got lit up for 10 goals. Yep. 4 goals in the first period, 3, and then 4. No, I'm sorry, 3, 3, and 4, if you will. He actually had a 1-0 lead a couple minutes into the game before he gave up 10 goals. But so anyway, so that's kind of how I when I go looking for a new season, these are some of the things that I look for. And I do the same with football. I go to the standings, what stands out. Are there any teams that don't exist anymore because they're always fun to play? You know, Houston Oilers, things like that. What are the really bad teams? You know, can I play a couple of their games to see if I can see if they get destroyed? What are the really good teams? You know, what are some of the playoff matchups? You know, and then I look at my individual players. Is there any older guys? Being an older guy, you know, I like the older guys. So is there any older guys I might want to play? Did anybody have a great season? Was it somebody's last season? Was it somebody's first season? So there's all kinds of things I look for. And I was surprised when I dug into 1980, 81, when I was doing that this afternoon before I actually ordered the season. I was surprised at how many things in there I would that piqued my interest in some of the boxes I checked. So anyway, that's about it for tonight. I'm going to jump out. It was just a quick little chat tonight, but I'm interested in finding out, how do you choose a season to replay? What goes into you picking a season? And aside from the obvious, aside from the, my team won the championship, or, my favorite player came to town, or whatever it is. I mean, you could include those if you like, but those are kind of gimmies. But what is it? When you go say, I'm going to order a new season for my game, or I'm going to go, or I have a season, I want to go back and play it. Why did I buy that season? What is it about that season that made me want to spend my money on it? So anyway, I'm Dave from Studio B, late night here. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'm interested in your thoughts on this one. And I look forward to receiving my my 80-81 season. And now that I did some research on the season, I'm probably going to have to pull out Hockey Bones and play that Vancouver game with the goalie that was thrown in late in the season for the Jets. and just to see how he does. I think that could be a fun little project. So I'm Dave. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a good night, and bye bye.